us online. Right now, hundreds of protesters are all gathered in downtown Phoenix at Cesar Chavez Park to take issue at defunding police during a city council meeting. William Pitts is there live right now for us and has more on their efforts and what's happening there. William?
Yeah, Tram, the city council meeting is about passing the budget for the entire city of Phoenix. And as part of that is passing the budget for Phoenix police. Now, what the protesters here want, and there are hundreds of them behind me here, they want a 25% cut in Phoenix police budget. And they want that money to go toward community-related projects. And they also want it to go toward the newly created police oversight board. Right now, that's only being funded with $400,000. They want a lot more money devoted to that. You can hear they're starting to practice some chants. Everybody is still kind of arriving here. This is supposed to start at 1:30 and go till about 4:30, the same time as the city council meeting. This is an in-person and it's also a virtual protest. There are a couple of hundred, probably 300 to 400 people expected here this afternoon. And also, this is also going online. Since the coronavirus has made all of the city council meetings go online only, they're encouraging people to comment and register online in order to flood the website with comments as they said, a hack the council event. So far, the last I checked, there were well over 1,000 comments toward the city council right now. And as you can hear, they're starting the event now. Again, they want a 25% defunding of Phoenix police, and they want that money to go toward community programs. They also want Phoenix PD to end its relationship with ICE and also to better fund, in their words, the police oversight board, the newly created office that would have the oversight board in there. Tram?
Now, William, I know this just started around 1:30. They are just now starting to take some action here. Have you had a chance at all to talk to any of these protesters and really get a mood and feeling of their sentiment right now?
I think the sentiment is basically what it has been the last couple of days, although a lot less visceral, I think, is the word. This is more of a budgetary protest. This is very specific in their demands. They are talking about defunding Phoenix PD. It's a very specific set of demands that they have. And also, this is different than prior protests in that they're not planning on going anywhere. They're not planning on marching. They're planning on staying right here and doing all of their protesting in front of the Phoenix City Council chambers, which is about a block away from City Hall. So it's a little bit different than it was before. There's not a gigantic police presence around here. The roads are shut down around downtown, as they have been, I think, for the last couple of days. But as far as police in riot gear around, I actually haven't seen any. I know they're here, kind of staying in the outskirts, but other than that, this is basically a largely peaceful gathering. People just hanging out in Cesar Chavez Park right now, and it doesn't look like they're going to be going anywhere or anything else is going to be happening.
All right, and I'm glad you made that big distinction between this particular group of protesters versus the protesters that we've been seeing here in downtown Phoenix marching for really the past couple of nights, since Thursday night, since this all began after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, again, you were saying that this Phoenix City Council meeting, this is going to happen in just a couple more hours, but this is one of their annual budget meetings, right? This is not a special meeting in regards to this whole defunding police, correct, William?
Correct. This is a thing that they do every single year. This is not just Phoenix police related. This is the entire city budget for the city of Phoenix. So this is roads, this is parks, this is everything. And part of the problem, and obviously this is going to be taken into consideration when they're talking about any sort of defunding, which is not on the city council agenda at all. But one of the things that they have to deal with in the city council budget process right now is they are $26 million down at the moment because of the coronavirus impact on sales tax. So they're already having to make massive cuts across the city of Phoenix. What these protesters want is to move some of that money around. They think too much of it is going to Phoenix police, and not enough of it is going to community programs and programs that make trust with police departments and the community improve. So, yeah, this is an annual thing that happens, and usually, in many times, it's just kind of a pro forma process. It just kind of is a guaranteed pass. In this case, it's got a lot of protesters and a lot of people that are speaking out against how the budget is allocated right now.
And, I was looking online about more information about this particular group. This is a nonprofit community organization. It's called Poder in Action. Apparently, this is who is leading this protest. It was founded back in 2013. Their goal is to track police brutality and abuse and any injustice that's happening in Arizona. They are a very, very vocal group. And obviously, you can see right here, taking their protests and their voices. They want to be heard loud and clear at this Phoenix City Council meeting that's about ready to start pretty soon. On their website, their mission, they say that we build power to disrupt and dismantle systems of oppression and determine a liberated future as people of color in Arizona. Again, William, as you had just mentioned, by June 17th, their goal is to defund the police by 25% and move that money into programs that create safe and healthy communities. They want to do 4 things, they say on their Facebook page. The first one, they want to pass a budget that prioritizes healthy communities and not police pay raises. Number 2, they want to pass a budget that supports police accountability. Number 3, they want to end collaboration between Phoenix Police and ICE. And finally, their 4th goal is to show us your plan to fundraise $3 million for the Undocumented Relief Fund. Now, this group what they're doing today is really nothing new. This has been happening in not only other cities around the nation, but also this is not the first time that they have taken their march and their voices to the city council. William, I'm wondering this, because we are on the heels of these national protests that have been happening after George Floyd's death, because of that, are you seeing some protesters from that particular group that we've been seeing in the past couple of nights? Are they kind of joining forces with this Poder in Action to make their voices even more heard?
No, this is kind of a combination right now. I know this is Poder in Action, but it's also co-sponsored by Black Lives Matter. So I'm sure there are protesters that are out here that have been out in some of the other protests that we've seen. And yeah, Poder in Action has actually held protests and rallies like this before in front of city council meetings to demand similar things, actually. And usually it's in front of the city council chambers when they're full and when people are coming in and things like that. But in this case, this is in front of an empty city council chamber. So yeah, the protesters are likely some of the same people, but definitely a different group. However, it is in conjunction with Black Lives Matter. So probably a little bit of an overlap here.
Yeah, and in fact, you can see in their signs right there, there's some signs that say Black Lives Matter. There's a sign that says, I can't breathe. So again, it does look like that combination, as you were just saying, in regards to not just defunding Phoenix Police by 25% and allocating that to more of an oversight board, but also from the latest protests that we've been seeing here in Phoenix. And thankfully, we should also mention that the past 2 nights have been peaceful. There have been no arrests. So things are definitely taking a turn here. So again, William, this Phoenix City Council meeting that's set to start at what time again?
The meeting, I believe, is supposed to start at 1:30. Of course, it is virtual. So the agenda items until they get to the actual annual budget, there are 44 items before they get to that point. So it could be a very long time before they get to the part of the city council that everybody out here actually cares about. But again, since it is virtual, it's a little hard for anybody to kind of know out here what's going on with the city council. There's not exactly a whole lot of people that are, able to watch on a laptop or anything like that to find out exactly where they are in this process. So that's why they turned this into an in-person and also a virtual protest, getting people to flood the City of Phoenix website, which collects comments. Usually it would be a public comment process, and you've seen that before if you've ever seen a city council meeting. There's usually a time set aside for people to come up to the microphone and speak their mind to the city council about the issues, about pretty much any issue that they want to. In this case, public comment has been changed a bit, and not limited, but I guess limited in its scope and how it's physically pulled off, because you can't go in person to a city council meeting anymore. So instead, they are posting comments, and it's thousands and thousands of comments at this point from people supporting and against taking some of the city council budget away from, or the city of Phoenix budget away from Phoenix PD and moving it toward other places. But yeah, this is kind of a new, I guess, hybrid protest with the coronavirus going on at the same time. It's in person and also online.
Sure, and it should be very interesting to see how much weight their voices will have, not, again, just from Poder in Action, that nonprofit community organization founded back in 2013, but also from the voices of Black Lives Matter and the recent protests that we've been seeing escalate all across the country. William, do you know if we will have a resolution, we will have an answer as to if the Phoenix police will be defunded, which is ultimately their goal?
As far as I know, that has not even been put on the city council agenda. So more than likely, no, it is not part of the agenda. The only way that would possibly happen is if the city council members decided to postpone the vote for the budget in favor of reworking the budget. So it's not, they basically pass the budget as a whole. It comes up and says, we'd like to pass the budget as is or as presented, and that's what they vote on. So basically the only way this would actually happen, and it would be millions and millions and millions of dollars taken away from Phoenix PD, which is, by their own account, already at only about 50% of their ideal capacity and strength. That would be taken away, but that would have to be something that would be modified on the city's end, and most likely not something that would happen through the city council. So unless that city council is postponed, probably not today. But I think this is more about issuing the demand and showing people that they have support behind an idea like this.
All right, and you know, you can't help but notice on a health and safety issue right there, obviously it is hot outside. We're talking over 100 degrees today. There is an excessive heat warning. You can tell people are feeling hot. They're fanning themselves. There's some tenting, lots of umbrellas to shade themselves to try to cool off, using their signs to try to cool off. Hopefully nobody gets hurt out there while they are protesting, William. And we should also mention, too, obviously because of the coronavirus, a lot of people are wearing masks.
Yeah, very much so. And on, you know, honestly, I think if anybody is going to get hurt, it's going to be because of heat. And Carlos, we're a little bit away. Carlos, my photographer, if you can hear me and pan to the right a little bit, there's a massive table of water and supplies for all of these protesters out here, because you know what? It is hot. It is going to be 110, 111 degrees out here. We're in the middle of downtown, and honestly, just me talking to you through the mask that I'm wearing right now, I get a little lightheaded the longer I talk. So yeah, it's a little dangerous, and it can get a little dangerous out here. Once it starts getting 110, 111 degrees, everybody's got to stay hydrated out here. And yes, because of the mask, because of the coronavirus, I mean, there's not a whole lot of social distancing going on, but that's the nature of a protest. So everybody's pretty much in a very close proximity to each other. Hopefully the masks do help. But lately that has been more and more of a concern as far as holding large events like this. How do you protect yourselves while you're doing it at the same time?
Yeah, that is so incredibly difficult right now. William, I'm going to let you take a breather right now. Maybe loosen up the mask, take a breath, put it back on again. I'm going to let you talk to some of those protesters out there to get more of the mood and their frustration and how they're feeling. But right now, I just want to recap for you. As you can see right there at Cesar Chavez Park, there are hundreds of protesters protesting, coming together right now this afternoon, because there is a Phoenix City Council meeting that is supposed to happen. Technically, we've been told it's going to happen at 2:30, but this is an annual budget meeting for them. This is nothing in particular, nothing special that they're holding. It's not a special meeting that they're holding. But again, it is to pass their annual budget. And the whole mission of this group gathering in downtown Phoenix is they want their voices heard to defund Phoenix Police. The group that is leading this action is a nonprofit community organization that was founded couple years ago, back in 2013. They're called Poder in Action. And let me tell you what some of their goals are. They basically say on their Facebook page that by June 17th, they want to defund the police by 25% and move that money into programs that create safe and healthy communities. Their objective is fourfold. The first one, they want to pass a budget that prioritizes healthy communities and not police pay raises. Number two, they want to pass a budget that supports police accountability. Number three, they want to end the collaboration between Phoenix Police and ICE. And finally, number four, they want to show us your plan to fundraise $3 million for the Undocumented Relief Fund. Now, again, this group, Poder in Action, this particular group, there are actually many groups across the nation. And this is not the first time that they have taken their voices to the city council meeting. They've done this before in years past. They're doing it once again. And again, they want to allocate all of this money by cutting 25%, a quarter of Phoenix police funds. They want to take that money and basically allocate it over to more of an oversight board to help the community and help address these issues of injustice and inequality. And again, you're looking at video from downtown Phoenix where hundreds of people are gathered there. It is hot. There is an excessive heat warning. Not only that, we're going through a pandemic right now. So not only are they so hot and they're fanning themselves with their signs and trying to keep cool with umbrellas, but also they have their mask on, which again, that can get a little stifling. So, we gave William some time. I don't know if he's had some time to talk to some protesters and do some interviews. Do you know if he has anybody? Okay, they're still checking. All right, again, we're going to give him a little bit more time to talk to some of these protesters. But the city already faces a $26 million deficit because of the coronavirus pandemic. These protesters, which we're really expecting anywhere between 300 to 400 protesters who gathered at about 1:30, they are expected to be there up until 4:30. And again, we should also mention, too, we have had protesters march after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've had protesters march throughout downtown Phoenix since Thursday, and it has been a very unruly couple of nights leading up all the way till Saturday when you saw the looting of Scottsdale Fashion Square as well as the waterfront. Luckily, because Governor Ducey issued an 8 p.m. curfew, that's 8 p.m. all the way to 5 a.m. starting from Sunday, this past Sunday, all the way through next Monday, that has really helped the situation there. And not only has Phoenix Police been really mobilizing their effort and beefing up their patrols, but also they have gotten help from many, many departments across the city, across the valley. We're talking Tolleson, Mesa, Peoria, MCSO. So I see William right now. I think he's got a couple of people to talk to. William, what can you tell us? How are people feeling out there?
We're actually waiting for somebody from Poder to talk to in just a second, but hot is the word that people are using the most right now. It's extremely hot out here, but people are still at least keeping positive. Take a look. This is the other side of the protest. Let me get out of the way. You can spin around this way and see how many people are here. This is the other side, the north side of Cesar Chavez Park, which has basically completely filled up except for a couple of places. People, hugging the shade right now. And for good reason. It's getting up toward 110 degrees right now. So people are definitely upbeat right now and, starting their chants. But it is also definitely very, very hot out here, Tram.
Yeah, I bet, William. I feel for you and the health for all of those other protesters out there. Again, an excessive heat warning in effect today. Temps going up to 110, 111. Hopefully everybody stays safe out there. Hopefully it is peaceful. That's all we can ask for right now. All right, William, we thank you so much for your reports. We'll let you get back to talking to a lot of those protesters out there. Of course, we're going to have more for you coming up on 12 News first at 4, as well as 12 News at 5, 6, and 10. Thanks so much for joining us online. We'll see you back here in about 2 hours for 12 News first at 4.